y'all. I am so glad you could be here today. I am excited because I watched Disney's Encanto. That movie is so good. If y'all haven't seen it, you should. Whether you have kids or not, if you have a Disney Plus account, go see it immediately. If you don't, please borrow somebody's Disney Plus password. I probably shouldn't say that, but whatever. It's so good, especially from a therapist point of view, but also a coaching point of view. So I really wanted to do a series about this film in particular because there's a lot of points that are really poignant, I think, to us as adults that kids may not pick up on in the film. And so I want to break kind of the characters down, but in the sense of talking about self-care and stress management, since that's typically what I touch on. So again, this is Disney's Encanto. I do not own the characters or anything like that, but I wanted to start with talking about Louisa, right? She is the character, and yeah, there's some spoilers, but she is the character who's like super strong and always has this pressure to, like stay cool under pressure. I mean, she helps everyone in the town. She basically carries everyone's burdens, right? And I think this plagues a lot of older siblings, a lot of older people within their family, whether you have siblings or not. I think this is something that typically happens pretty much on a regular basis, right? So I wanted to talk to those of us who often carry our family's burdens, whether it's through generational trauma, whether it's something we've put on ourselves. That's kind of what Louisa encompasses. And I wanted to talk about it from a way to set boundaries with difficult people, because boundaries are really important when we're talking about self-care and stress management. They go hand in hand, right? So I want to just give you a couple of tips. Hopefully these are helpful for you, but the first one is going to be understanding that your needs are important. In the film, she didn't really do that. She would often go ahead and take other people's things on when she knew she didn't have the capacity to do it, or she had the capacity but should not have done it because it was too much. So I want you to understand that those needs are important for you. I've said it once, I'll say it again. It's just like when people tell you, or like, you're traveling and they tell you put on your mask first. You have to make sure you're taking care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else, or you won't be good for anyone. The second thing is going to be seek out people who value you. You want to make sure you have family members and friends, but if we're talking about family members who value you, who don't mind if you set boundaries, who understand that, like you can't do everything and be everything to everyone. Because a lot of times we do have those family members who like to push the line each time, right? Like I'm here. And they keep pushing until they, maybe you crack. That's a problem. We don't want people blowing their bottle caps, like I tell the kiddos that I see. The third thing when it comes to setting boundaries is be firm but kind. Oh, excuse me. Be firm but kind. You can set boundaries without being mean or rude to people. Yes, there are some people who definitely need to, you need to be more direct with, maybe be pretty blunt with, but you can still, again, be blunt without being callous or mean. We don't want anybody acting like Scar around here. Because usually if you do that, then people get angry and defensive and they can't even hear what you're saying. So then that defeats the purpose of setting the boundary because they're probably not going to hold it anyway, right? The fourth thing is keep your expectations realistic. So let me think of an example. Okay, let's say Thanksgiving, because that's usually when a lot of families are around, right? It's not realistic to attend a Thanksgiving to family members when you know they're going to belittle you the entire time you're there. Instead, you can set a boundary around when you're going to go, if you're going to go, and it's okay for you to not go. You can, you don't want to feel that stress. If you know that people aren't going to do what you're asking them to do, why go and seek that out? That doesn't make any sense. So in that case, your expectation is, well, I know this is going to happen, so these are my choices. I'm going to go for 30 minutes, show my face, leave. I'm not going to go, and I'm either going to tell people the reason why or I'm not, because that's also a thing. No. is a complete sentence. Or I'm gonna go and endure it and just endure it. That's all I got for you. Because I would say be okay with it, but obviously if we're talking about it, it's probably not something you're okay with. The fifth thing, which is going to be the toughest one, which was very tough for Louisa. We see this in the scene with the piano when she's she's continuing to try to do it and pull it even though she's losing her powers. It's be willing to walk away. Sometimes people are so unhealthy and toxic, which isn't my favorite word because it's kind of a trend, but whatever. You don't have an option but to walk away or leave a situation. The first example immediately that comes to mind is if someone is abusive. This can be a male or female partner, someone who is non-binary, anything like that, right? Be willing to walk away. Even if you look like the bad guy, you know what's best for you and you don't have to apologize for it. Sometimes that's what's necessary and you'll know when that is. And if you don't, hello, that's what coaching is for. We can help you navigate those murky waters. The sixth thing I would was keep in mind that you're in charge of, excuse me, you're in charge of what you do and how you react and how you respond to people. So I know this is a hard one, but no one can make you do or feel anything. You're in charge of whether or not you set that boundary, whether you keep that boundary. If you have someone difficult or whatever, talking derogatory about your job, you can tell them to stop making fun of you, even if they say it's a joke, right? Now, you can say something like, that crosses a line. If you keep doing that, I'm going to leave. Or you can sit and, again, be okay with it. But you are in charge of that situation. No one else is. You get to decide how you're going to handle it. It kind of goes right hand in hand with the 5 one, right? Which is be willing to walk away. The 7th one is be direct. Don't be dropping hints like, well, I'm not a big fan of that. No, I don't like it. That's it. Be very explicit with what's okay and what's not okay so that they understand what those boundaries are. We can't tiptoe around those. Yes, I understand, your grandmother might be the family matriarch, but sometimes that's necessary too. I don't know if that is, I don't know. That might get some backlash. Y'all tell me what you think about that, because I know how our elders can be with families, especially when it comes to boundaries. My own grandmother, who I love to death, often will tell me like, oh, well, that's, you're being rude because I have an opinion about something. That's not how I view it, because I know if I want to be rude, I can be rude. That's not what I'm doing. I'm setting a boundary. I'm being direct. I am voicing my opinion, and everyone does not like that. Everyone's not going to like it. It's okay. They'll either get over it or they'll remove themselves or you'll remove yourself. Either way, something's going to happen. Seek to take care of yourself would be the 8th thing that I am saying. So you have to be willing to set up and stick to those boundaries and understand why your boundaries are important. Because if you're putting them up and you don't know why, that's not really going to be helpful, because that more than likely is going to result in failure, right? That's not going to be a very positive outcome typically. I'm not going to say it always happens, but usually. So again, this goes with the very first one. If you're not putting yourself first, then you're not going to be able to set and hold those boundaries. You're not going to be able to care for yourself. You're not going to be able to show other people that you care for yourself, thus meaning they can treat you the same way you treat yourself. It's a problem, right? You're modeling that behavior for them. My 9th thing is going to be learning to be assertive, which again is something we can help you learn to do here at Rooted Ambition. But many difficult people get away with being difficult because nobody stands up to them, right? So like usually people say, oh, that's just Ashley. Oh, that's just Tony. Oh, that's just so-and-so. And that, y'all don't know how much that annoys me. And again, that ties into the movie because there's a lot of parts where people are like, oh, that's just that person. That's just Abuela. It is sometimes, until it's not, until it becomes a problem. So if you don't enjoy the teasing, if you don't enjoy being ridiculed and you want to be respected, you have to stand up for yourself and tell people that you want to be respected. There's definitely an art to being assertive. Some people are born with it, but it is definitely a skill you can develop. So even if you don't feel like you have it right now, you can eventually be able to do that with some practice. If that's something you think you need, get in touch with us here at Rooted Ambition, and we can definitely get you in with a coach who can help you start to establish those boundaries with your family, because we don't have to end up like the movie. I won't tell you the ending. Of course, it's a Disney ending, but my point being is it doesn't always look like that, like it did in the movies. That's a little bit unrealistic, because there was still a lot more that needed to be unpacked. Ooh, that's another one of those words I hate, but I'm going to use it anyway. But anyways, I just wanted to come to y'all today, like I said, with that mental minute. I wanted to use Louisa as kind of my sticking point, and I wanted to talk to you all about setting boundaries with family. You could also actually use this with friends if you want to, because it's the same kind of concept, still boundary setting, which is really important when we're talking about mental health, when we're talking about stress management, when we're talking about self-care. All of those really important things. So without further ado, I'll let y'all get back to your day. This has been our mental minute, and I can't wait to share more of these moments with y'all. Bye.